Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you're one of my continued followers, please share this information with people you think will find it informative. And I got a good one for us. That's straight out of the military down in Texas. Millionaire Conwoman, 57 years old, Ms. Janet Mello, who bilked the military out of over $100 million to splash on 31 homes and 80 cars over a 7-year period. Recently got indicted in December of 2023, where she forged her boss's signature to move large sums of money into her accounts. And now that she's been indicted, the bizarre thing is the judge allowed her to be free without bail on a personal recognizance bond. Judge Richard Farr did not deem Mello a flight risk, despite her previously living in Guam. So with these liberal laws we have today, you can commit these crimes, especially if they're nonviolent crimes. And the state of California, well, the LA County and the state of Illinois are doing these cashless bonds. And evidently, generally those kinds of lenient laws will start in a particular state or two, and they will be state laws, and eventually they'll turn into federal laws. And that's what it looks like. These cashless personal recognizance bond kinds of laws are taking place, because now you're seeing this in Texas, which is a very, very conservative state. This woman stole over $100 million from the United States military, and the judge allowed her out on a personal recognizance bond, saying that she will give her word that she will show back up to court within 30 days to see what her outcome will be. Let's see how that turns out. I mean, if she was egregious enough and criminal enough to steal $100 million right under the military's nose, do you think she's going to show up to court when she's facing 142 years in prison? Give me a break. So aside from allegedly funneling Army funds into a defunct business she created, Janet Mello is also accused of forging her boss's signature on paperwork that allowed her to move the money without anyone questioning it. Janet Mello's federal indictment claims that she used the digital signature, SK. Nobody signs anything now. Everything is highly computerized. Artificial intelligence, we got now, and then the whole concept and the power of the computer is taking over everything. We done lost our humanity. You don't even sign a piece of paper anymore with a pen and a piece of paper. There's no real human contact or anything that's based on reality. We done reached into this realm of living through this computer and this technology, just like that old comic show, The Jetsons. So she was doing electronic signature, which is what everybody does today, and she was signing it SK. And so what she was doing was she was accused of forging her boss's signature on paperwork that allowed her to move the money without anyone questioning it. And Janet Mello's federal indictment claims that she used the digital signature on multiple sign-offs while working as a CYS financial program manager at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. And SK, just for you all wondering, refers to the chief of the CYS program, Susan King, who was her boss. Mello used King's signature to siphon federal funds into her own fake business called CHYLD. It's an acronym, and I'll tell you what that means in a minute. It has to deal with disabled. It was a sham company to help children with mental and physical needs, long-term mental and physical needs. How hypocritical is that? This woman is almost heartless. There were no checks and balances for Miss Janet Mello. She was given more autonomy in her position, and the Army had relaxed some administrative restrictions. It speaks to the nonchalantness of the military and its lack of internal controls. This is the United States military where we are funding wars outside of the U.S. in Ukraine and Russia, in the Gaza Strip. President Biden has given billions of dollars to both of those wars while we have homelessness, the opioid crisis, tons of mental health issues, joblessness, poor, inept inner city schools. But it's amazing how we can print money and send it outside of the U.S. and not take care of the people inside of the U.S. And this shows you a clear example where we have turned a blind eye. There's so much going on in our United States government that we can't keep an eye on what's going on right inside of our country. This is part of the reason why she was able to steal $100 million. This is one of the biggest fraud cases the military has ever dealt with. CHYL stands for the Child Health and Youth Lifelong Development, which she fraudulently used to collect money from the 4-H Military Partnership Grant. Janet Mello has she stole over $100 million with this fake company called CHYL, which stands for Child Health and Youth Lifelong Development. It's for kids with mental and physical lifelong mental disabilities. She's faking it. She stole $100 million over 7 years. Listen to what she amassed. Nearly 80 vehicles and 31 properties across 5 states. Federal prosecutors allege she lived a life of luxury and opulence that was clearly not supported by her $130,000 a year income. Now, how is she amassing all of this and driving up to work at a military job? And everybody knows when you work for the state or the government, they don't pay as well as corporate America. And she's driving up here in all these different vehicles and nobody paid attention to any of it. One of the lowest paid careers is working for the military or the state. She reported that her company, CHYLD, earned a profit of $483 on revenue of $2,152 for training consultations in 2017. But since then, she has not filed any tax return. She regularly filed fraudulent paperwork and deposited grants into her fake businesses over 40 times, securing over $100 million for herself. She would, for example, wire transfer $264,874 from the account to buy herself a 2023 Range Rover last year. She sent herself $3.3 million to purchase real estate properties in Canyon Lake, Texas during the same time. She had a total of 78 luxury cars, 16 Harley Davidson motorcycles. She had Maseratis, Ferraris, Aston Martins, Mercedes, Teslas, and all of this. She had homes. She had over 31 properties of real estate that spanned across multiple states: Texas, Maryland, Colorado, Washington, and New Mexico. She even had over 6 bank accounts. Now, of course, when she's doing all this, she's not keeping it to herself. She has to be telling some of her colleagues at work that she owns a summer home. People do that all the time. It's just called friendship banter over your lunch break, or when you all get together after work to have a cocktail. You talk about your personal lives, whether you're getting a divorce or what's going on with you, when you want to retire. No red light went up that this woman had 31 properties across 5 or 6 states. She's driving Mercedes, Maseratis. Nobody in the government is driving those kinds of cars. Most individuals that are military, lifelong employees, generally they drive American cars, Ford, Chryslers, and stuff like that. But she's driving all these foreign vehicles. She has all these homes, $3 million homes. She's not keeping it to herself, because if opulence is what you're about, most people that live for things, they're not doing it for themselves. They're doing it for others so people can look at them as some kind of success story. And no red light went up. The IRS finally tipped off the military and the U.S. Attorney's Office. And on December 6, 2023, the U.S. Attorney's Office, Western District of Texas, federally indicted Ms. Janet Mello on 10 counts. And where was the IRS? I thought if you made any kind of deposit or withdrawal over $5,000 or $10,000, it gets sent straight to the IRS. This young lady did this over 7 years. The IRS is part of the federal government too. So you have the military that went to sleep on this. You have the IRS. We have all of these alphabet departments in the U.S. government that turned a blind eye on this one little 57-year-old woman that was able to siphon $100 million. Thank God she wasn't a sophisticated computer scientist or some PhD in accounting. They would have taken $1 billion and the U.S. government would have never known. Mello is charged with 5 counts. So she got indicted on 10 counts. She is charged with 5 counts of mail fraud, 4 counts of engaging in a monetary transaction over $10,000 using criminally derived proceeds, and 1 count of aggravated identity theft. If convicted, she could get 142 years in prison. Here again, if you're a small businessman, independent, is trying to make a living, and your accountant mismanages $5,000 in taxes or $10,000, the IRS and the United States government will come after you like you just committed the biggest heinous crime in the world. Put you on TV and use you as an example. Even doctors that commit Medicaid fraud, they will $600,000 in Medicaid fraud. They will blast them all over the news, even though it's wrong, and they should be charged and convicted. But this woman stole $100 million while she's working for the military right under their nose. And you're not seeing any kind of national presence about this. You know why? Because the military is embarrassed by it. She stole just enough where it's not going to be highlighted in the national media and news. And this is one of the great things about social media and this platform today, that individuals like myself that research these kinds of things, you can put out storylines that the United States government don't want you to know about. She could get 142. So she had to have other people involved in this. This could not just be her and this signature. You mean to tell me she's managing several $100 million a year? Where was her boss at? SK. There should be checks and balances in all of this. No one noticed that $100 million was gone. Where is the U.S. government's accounting? How are they doing audits every year on average citizens throughout the world, but they're not auditing the people that work for the government? And it shows you that money has no value with our U.S. government. They just push a button and print money, just like during the COVID relief fund, $3 trillion that was pushed into the marketplace, just a push of a button. Where does inflation, deflation, recession, where does all of that take place? Where is the Federal Reserve at? These banking institutions, these MBAs and PhDs in economics that are supposed to be watching all of this. We've pushed a button and sent billions of dollars to Ukraine-Russia war. We've sent billions of dollars to the Gaza Strip war. We have spent billions of dollars on this migrant crisis issue at the border, but we won't take care of our homeless military veterans that are living on the street. We won't spend money on mental health issues. We won't spend money on protection of child care. We won't spend money on the inept public urban inner city schools where kids are reading 2 and 3 levels behind their grade level, and in their math scores are 2 and 3 levels behind their grade level. On state exams, this is taking place in Chicago, Philadelphia, New York, Texas, many of our major cities. We won't pay our teachers an aggregate salary that's on the same level as the cost of living increase. We won't pay police officers. 2,500 police officers last year left the New York City police force. We want to defund the police. We are so misguided on what's going on and where our energy should be focused on: our humanity, our moral purpitude, our ethics, our living positively, manifesting our truth in the right way, that the government is so distracted that this one lady in Texas could steal $100 million over a 7-year period, buy all this property and cars and vehicles, and do it right under the nose of the federal government and their staffers and her employees, and nobody knew a thing. Our American government needs to manifest its truth and look in the mirror. We need to take care of the people within this country before we take care of everything outside of this country. And it's a clear example that we're not paying attention to the people and the citizens and the pageantry of your American citizens to allow a government employee to be able to steal $100 million right under your nose.